Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the EY GCC Leadership Series. And today we are in the beautiful city of Hyderabad. I am sitting at Carrier's largest R&D center globally, and I will be talking to Nanda, Kamal and Prasad about how they foster a culture of innovation and bring talent and capabilities together to drive their strategy around R&D as a part of the core strategy of Carrier as a global corporation. So thank you so much guys for joining me today for this episode of our EY GCC Leadership Series. Firstly, congratulations. You guys won the Outstanding GCC of the Year award on our very first GCC awards. So Nanda, maybe I'll start with you. You've been here for quite some time in Hyderabad, the largest R&D center as far as we are concerned for Carrier. What drives this center forward? I mean, how do you incorporate the culture and values of Carrier into the center?
So first of all, thank you Arindam, and we are all very happy to have received the GCC of the Year award. And as you know, in 2023, Carrier had announced a strategic transformation of its portfolios, really focusing more on global, intelligent climate solutions and energy solutions. So it's important that we are at the very center of that vision, helping figure out ways to drive more innovation, in our products, in our solutions, across the enterprise. Hyderabad is one of our largest centers, our Hyderabad center, and is home to 3 large hubs. We have the Center of Excellence in Engineering, we also have one in digital, and we have one in Carrier Business Services. And Hyderabad has been around for a little over 2 decades now with Carrier, and Carrier and earlier with UTC. So in the engineering side, we are involved heavily with doing work on embedded systems, on software, on platforming, really working on solutions to make our products more efficient. Digital, the DHI team is working on our digital transformation journey, and really all things digital, whether it is on cybersecurity, on analytics, on connected products. And at the same time, CBS is a trusted partner, in terms of really driving all of the business services across the enterprise, frankly. Overall, I think we have an engaged workforce. We promote a lot of inclusion and diversity.
And how large is your workforce in India?
Today, we've got about 1,300 people here in the Hyderabad center. We also are collaborating pretty actively with our centers in Gurgaon, where we do have manufacturing presence and also an engineering center. So part of our journey is also to expose our teams to really what happens in a factory, really what happens with customers. And we believe that connect is going to be quite important as we learn the overall value chain and drive better solutions for our customers. So we believe that by combining the strength and the innovation in engineering and in digital and in business services, we can all really come together to drive better solutions.
So thank you, Nanda, for that. Kamal, maybe for you, what do you see? I mean, today when we look at GCCs and in companies in general, there's a huge push towards AI and Gen AI, right? There's a lot of talk around how and when Gen AI will have a huge impact in what we do and how we do from an enterprise perspective. What's the impact that you're seeing on Carrier today? I mean, do you see, given that you work very closely with digital transformation in the company, how do you see that evolving at Carrier?
Yeah, so see, interesting question. So I think for us, digital is not the operational function or a cost center or a cost incurring function. Like we are a true partners in the organization growth, be it revenue, be it innovation, right, be it operational excellence.
And do you have direct impact on the revenue of Carrier?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
So you are not a cost center by any means. You're directly impacting what Carrier does on a day-to-day basis with it.
Yeah, because we are creating the backbone and the platform where we are taking product from our factories to the consumer, right? So starting from the mobility, starting from the way our consumer or our partners place the orders, the product manufacturing and stuff. So it has been a long journey. Going to be close to 5 years and a huge transformation. In that, the captive centers or the digital hubs as we call internally. So we have got 4 hubs right now, Mexico, China, India, and Bangalore is upcoming. So among these 4 hubs, the primary charter what we are driving is completed digital transformation, because a lot of mundane activities, operational activities, we partner with different service providers. The core of the digital transformation is
Is in this hub.
yeah. And as the personalities of GCCs/GICs are changing, we wanted to make sure that we are working on the cutting edge technologies, in which AI and Gen AI is one of the core focus area what we have on the table right now. As we talk, recently we concluded the global Gen AI hackathon internally, right, where we partnered with sales, marketing, HR, finance, operations. Very phenomenal participation. What was interesting was digital anyways was expected. We also brought our allies, the functions together, and we created over 33 unique ideas in just a matter of 1 week, in which 10 went into the implementation. Another example I'll give you of Gen AI. In Europe, in our truck business, right, we receive over 200 million insurance claims. By implementing Gen AI, just by 5% of efficiencies is going to give us 25-30 million. Just imagine the possibilities, right? So this is how we are looking at the overall this disruption. How do we disrupt in processes? How we disrupt in experiences?
So that's interesting. So firstly, I mean, just to quickly summarize, you spoke about not being a cost center, directly impacting revenue. You spoke about Gen AI cases that directly impact the bottom line of the company. You see this as a strong digital hub, and you spoke about 4 hubs that are interconnected. Just continuing from that, Prasad, for you, you guys are in Hyderabad, right? And when we discuss, and we have a lot of discussions with the Hyderabad government, there's a lot that is being done as far as GCCs are concerned. How is Carrier either collaborating with academia in the Telangana state, or T-hubs just close by? Tell me a little bit about how Carrier and the government is coming together, especially in context of the GCCs.
So I think typically, like every other hub which has come to Hyderabad in the recent past, we are very aware of the ecosystem in Hyderabad. One of the things which happened over the last few years, Telangana has emerged as one of the global hubs for business processes wise. We have a lot of GCCs in Hyderabad giving business processes, and from our perspective, we are collaborating with some universities here, working with them to see how we can have talent come on board, as well as looking at some finishing schools as well. In terms of government initiatives, we are working with the local partners, partnering through our engineering and digital teams who have wider network, to ensure that we get enough support and as well as support for our talent programs.
Now, I mean, to all of you, I think we spoke a little bit about the center, its vision, impact of AI and the digital hub, and of course, integration with academics and the government at large. Talent's on everyone's mind, right, as far as GCC is concerned, either from an attrition standpoint, upskilling standpoint. What's your context? What's your take at Carrier? I mean, how do you look at talent? Is Carrier a brand that faces challenges in the market when it comes to talent acquisitions, or are you comfortable, you believe that you've got a very well-established brand?
We consider ourselves, and our CEO has told us a few times, that we consider ourselves to be a 100-year-old startup. So we really need to have innovation in our DNA. And innovation doesn't mean that you have to do everything yourself organically, within our team. And I think that's really where, for example, let's say there are initiatives by the Telangana government or with T-Hub. T-Hub is actually one of the largest startup ecosystems, right? And it's not only T-Hub, but it's also T-Works, which is about prototyping. So you can actually walk in with an idea in the morning, and you can walk out with a physical prototype, and you can see if that becomes a minimum viable product, etc. You can throw challenges to the team, and the teams will kind of grab and capture them. They'll come up with a number of ideas. It's an opportunity to also kind of get talent. It's an opportunity for the talent there to also get exposed to how industry looks at problems and how we solve. You talked about academia, right? And we had a very interesting visit to IIT Hyderabad. For example, the way in which education is, for example, being imparted to the students is also quite transformational in nature. Some of the students, for example, who are working in medical device manufacturing, they are either partnering, I understand, with either AIG or with the LV Prasad Eye Institute. They spend several months in the hospital environment, understanding patients and doctors and understand what happens before they kind of go back and either designing lasers or other in vitro equipment. So I think this interdisciplinary nature of education and intermingling, those boundaries become very fuzzy, right? There's a startup, there is a traditional school, there's a finishing school, there's early talent. A lot of times I also see gaps between GCCs and the level of engagement, let's say, that they have with the business. So I think the business orientation, walking the language, walking in customers' shoes, kind of go where the action is, right? Go where the Gemba is. So go to the factory, go to the service people, go to customers. Those become important elements. And part of what we are trying to do is to cull out those experiences and give them, the more you do that, the more engaged the workforce.
So effectively, you're putting people more on the job, on the shop floor, understanding what the company really does as opposed to just sitting
Across the system. You need to see the larger picture. The more you see it, the more effective you are in your decisions.
So that's an interesting point. Anything you guys are doing with startups? The startup ecosystem is also thriving quite a bit, especially in the space that you operate. Anything you do specifically with startups?
Yeah, so a lot of engagement with the startup. So we have a specific program called Digital Hive, right, which we are running globally. It's heavily focused on how do we engage with startups,
Right.
how do we bring startups into our ecosystem. We have social media digital assets, right, called Air Talks, where our business leaders come and they interact with the startup by expressing their business problem statements, what are their future aspirations, and then startups collaborate with us in terms of how they can do it. This gives us a straightway access to the latest and the newest technology, and we do a lot of joint POCs. So these kind of programs running in the digital hubs helps us a lot. And with i3 lab also we are getting a lot of ideation support, which end of the day helps us to take those ideas, see you want to do in-house or you want to engage with the startup and move forward. I would say it's like a accelerator program for us rather than just a brainstorming session.
One last question, and for you, Prasad. Look, the name GCCs have been there for quite some time, Global Capability Centers. Now, the thought process around that has been that do we really need to call these centers a separate name, or are they an integral part of the company itself is just another hub in a particular location? What's your take on this? When you look at Carrier and the way it works, do they look at this as a separate sort of entity, or is it very well integrated into the overall Carrier framework?
From our perspective, we don't see Hyderabad or CBS Hyderabad as a separate entity. It's integral to us. What is done there is done here. Right. What is done here is the same as what they need there. So it's like an integrated system, EcoHub. And whenever we have senior leaders visit, they don't see any difference. We are subject to the same kind of guidelines as what they had globally, and we do the same thing as what they do globally. It's very integrated. One company, one Carrier.
Excellent. So well integrated, one company, one Carrier. So we'll end with that. Thank you so much for joining me. It's a pleasure talking to all of you.
Thank you.
And for those watching, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back very soon with the next episode in this series. Till then, take care.